Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the after party. Still no good way to do that, so we're just gonna now we'll keep doing it and making fun of it every time. Hi guys, how are you tonight? Hope you're well. Just got more on my mind, and that's just kind of how after party works sometimes. I went to Twitter after the show earlier, and oh dear God, I know Twitter is full of stupid, but the level of dumb over there right now is just it's brain breaking. Oh, I got accused of sticking up for YouTube. In this whole thing, I'm sticking up for YouTube. It's like, how the fuck you figure that? And let me explain. I got accused of sticking up for YouTube because I pointed out that Steven Crowder is right now censoring himself to stay Susan's bitch for free. And somehow that was me defending YouTube. That's how goddamn stupid it is on Twitter right now. And that's the kind of arguments that are coming out of this whole Crowder versus Daily Wire thing. I'm gonna lay it out for you. Steven Crowder pulled a little gay op to launch his new service that he's trying to get started up for you, the people. It's just a little gay op. He's a YouTuber. That shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, somehow that's me defending them to point out that he's doing for free right now. What he is saying is supporting big tech if he does it for money through the Daily Wire. I don't fucking get it. I really don't. I don't see where the hard part of this is. I don't see where the confusing part is. He's literally doing it to himself right now. The only thing that would change would be him taking the Daily Wire's money. Oh, and he'd have to do the two events a couple times a year and the four promos and read ads. But otherwise, I mean, uh, thank you, John, who says, "What's this saying between Titanic and The Sixth Sense?" I see dead people. Nicely played. Well played indeed. No, I just the level of stupid over there is just it's mind blowing, man. I expected some of it, but here, let me. I might as well burn bridges while I'm at it. There was a tweet from roaming millennial, Lauren Chen. She finally weighed in on this. She didn't say whether or not Crowder was okay to work for, which was the question I had for her. But you're not on Rumble for this? No, I was lazy, Shroom. It doesn't take a lot to set those up, but I was just lazy. We already did the big show on there, so like, fuck it, I'm just turning on a mic and going. So I skipped it for this one. I considered it, but I was like, I can't be bothered right now. And that's a shitty way to be. But they're not really missing anything. It's just going over the same stuff and me making fun of tweets now instead of just yelling into my microphone. But I want to highlight this tweet from Lauren Chen because Ben Shapiro had responded to this, and he said this: Steven Crowder's latest video tragically proves that he knows nothing about three things: business, contract negotiations, friendship, and decency. Again, here's the video going over it. Now, I'm not gonna comment on the friends and decency one. I find it pretty fucked up that he recorded somebody who was his friend like that specifically for this purpose. You're not going to convince me that he didn't do this on purpose because the timing. I'm sorry, the timing is just too incredible for that. But I think it shows Crowder knows quite a bit about business. Honestly, I do. Because he knows what he's doing. Crowder knows that controversy drives views. He's very good at getting controversy for himself. And I'm not talking about when he accidentally gets kicked off platforms because he's still following their rules, because that's happened to him on Twitter many a time. But things like change my mind and setting up in the middle of a liberal university. You know what I mean? He's very good at that part. He gets the business part of the YouTube side of things. And then he says contract negotiations. He didn't even bother negotiating, so you can't really make that claim. because I don't think for Steven it had anything to do with that. I think this was his plan all along. The more and more I see, and again, I have no basis on that part other than my own feeling of what I'm seeing here. It seems to be his plan all along. This contract fell apart at least in October, possibly even sooner than that. So he sat on this. He sat on this shit. I record all combos with my friends all the time, and they never know about it. Well, I mean, you to each their own, I guess. Are you going to release it to try to embarrass him? Because that's a little bit different. Did you call him up specifically to record him for that? Thank you, John. What genre is Cardi B? It's a fusion of jazz and punk. It's called junk. Indeed. I don't know if I could even name a Cardi B song. So anyway, Roaming Millennial answers with this. I'm going to spell this out because no one else seems to get it. Do tell. Steven Crowder felt personally hurt and betrayed by the fact that Daily Wire would not only try to tie his income to what big tech deems acceptable speech, but also to do so while taking millions from his mug club base he'd bring in. Wow. Okay. I just want to point out one more time that the only thing the Daily Wire asked of Steven Crowder is that he do it now. You keep doing exactly what you're doing now. And that is, he was hurt and betrayed by being asked to do what he's doing now for free. He's doing it right now for free. But it was hurt and betrayal to get paid for it. I mean, I guess that's a take. That doesn't make sense in any logical way that I can figure out. Thank you, Cast One. After weeks of insomnia, I slept maybe 19 of the last 24. What did I miss? Just more Crowder and Daily Wire. That blew up a lot bigger today because Crowder made a second video, and what a doozy it was. Hurt and betrayed. You tied it to my, you're tying it to my money. You already tie your own stuff to it. You literally say that it's necessary to be on YouTube. So you bring hundreds of thousands, millions of people to YouTube a day, a platform that, according to you, is silencing conservative voices, and they just can't be heard if you're on that platform that you're on, bringing hundreds of thousands, million or more video or views a day. Yeah, the gall of those guys over there at the Daily Wire to then expect, if they give you a big fat paycheck, to somehow recover that money. Good fucking God. He's, what is he? I am Spartacus. Fuck, man. Steven Crowder at any time could have left YouTube. He could have left when he got the last time he got kicked off YouTube for 2 weeks. He could have stayed on just the Rumble. He could have stayed over there on his iPad, his iPods, and all of that other crap. He could have stayed on those. He could have stayed off of YouTube. He didn't. He's on the Rumble and the Blaze only, still got contract. According to him, his contract was up at the end of the year. End of the year. He doesn't have to be on YouTube. He's doing that because he says it the same way in his videos, even before he ever talked about leaving the Blaze. I don't want to have to be on YouTube. I don't want to, but this is where the audience is. That's why you go to YouTube. He didn't say I stay on YouTube because of contract obligations. He could have said that. People would have understood. I'm contractually obligated to make shows and try to get them out to as many people as possible. You know what the Daily Wire was asking. They're literally asking, hey, do what you're doing right now. It was hurtful. It was betrayal. Betrayal. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. Can we get him a fainting couch for fuck's sake? Good God almighty. It's all a drama grift. I think it is on Crowder's side. I think Crowder did this on purpose. I don't think the Daily Wire was expecting this to happen. And cons are eating it up. Yeah, I said this last night, and I'll keep repeating this. I've said this many times. Conservatives like to talk about the left eating their own, but boy, do they like the taste of conservatives themselves. Whew, tasty. Google isn't going to let Elon buy YouTube, even if it was, no, there's no way. And it would be way more expensive than Twitter was. Jesus. Even at a loss, YouTube is a very powerful tool to have. You said the F word. I say the F word a lot, man. I say it's on brand for me. No, I see like hurt and betrayal. Are you fucking real? This you didn't cheat on him with his wife or something, for fuck's sake. Christ. It's not like he came home and found his wife with a yarmulke between her legs. Hurt and betrayal at having to do what he's doing now. Crowder makes the conscious choice to be on YouTube because, and hear me out, I've mentioned this many times too, that's where the audience is. Go ahead and tell me how big his Rumble numbers are. Show me where he's been on both platforms and Rumble was higher. It doesn't happen. He gets a bigger audience on YouTube because that's where most people are. Who was it? I think it was in the Jeremy Boring video where he said, Rumble has millions of users. YouTube has billions. It's where the eyeballs are. It's like the difference of being on network television in the 80s versus being on public access. Rumble's public access right now. Will it one day get there? I hope so. I hope there's something to rival YouTube and give a genuine choice. But right now, Rumble ain't it. It might work for a few people, but it's not what YouTube is. That's where the views are. Same thing with why people stay with Facebook, why people stay with Twitter. Like, no, I'm just going to Truth Social. Good luck with the small audience over there. It's annoying. It's annoying. I keep forgetting to go to Rumble and upvote the video. I didn't put this one over there, so don't worry about on this one. I was lazy. I almost didn't even make a thumbnail for it, but it's like, fuck, all I gotta do is change the color and toss a new word on there. Fuck it. It's the same basic topic for the last 3 days on this shit. But again, a lot of just the hyperbolic shit that I saw in here. Karlin Boriensko, fuck, how do you say her name? Borisenko, that's how you say it. Karlin Borisenko. She tweeted this out. Steven Crowder recorded a phone call with the Daily Wire that absolutely destroys the narrative they've been trying to sell you. Really? Because I heard them basically say what they said in the video. The only difference there is the wage slave, the wage slave. And then she plays in this little clip that she put up on Twitter. Now, she's very fond of striking people down, so I don't know how much of this. We're going to be playing him anyway. Here, God damn, my volume is way too high. Let's try it at this volume and see how it works out. All right, so this is the clip, or the very beginning of the clip that she plays.
Because it's not about the money.
Exactly.
It's kind of unreal to me that.
Exactly. It's not about the money. It's not about exactly. All right. It's not about the money. What's the penalty again? What's the penalty? Oh, no, it's not. It's not that you're taking that money from me. When I saw, this is going to mean that I'm working for free and all that. No. It's not about the money. You see, it's about that penalty. It's about being penalized by those people over there at Big Tech. It's about supporting what Big Tech is doing. As I freely bring them millions of views. Exactly. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's all about the cause. It's all about the movement. I'm fairly certain Crowder's on Twitter too, and has been even before Elon took over. He's on Apple. Can you name me a major platform he's not on that he puts his shit out on? One of these big tech places that are so horrible. I'm willing to learn. I really am. I just don't understand. I hate to destroy ends whatever random person or entity. I'm with you on that. It's kind of silly. She's a grifter. What a person to talk. No shit. If y'all don't know who she is, that chick. She was a left wing SJW sewer person who had a falling out with her sewing group. What is it? Knitting, actually, not sewing. I got to be careful. The knitting group, and so she became a darling of the right until she decided that the right argued with her too much. So now she's a libertarian and spreading her nonsense in libertarian circles. It's actually funny to watch. She's been cozying up to Jeff Charles lately. She's been in his Twitter spaces with him. I keep seeing her fat little face every time I go over to one of them. Like, I'm going to pass. So if I have to listen to her voice for more than 5 seconds, I will start punching myself in the nuts until blood shows. Keldrick, thank you. It's not about the money. Right. And Biden's not a tard. Of course it's about the money. That's what the penalty was. It's not like they said, if you get kicked off of YouTube, we're going to have to watch what you said. We're going to make all your scripts have to come to us for pre-approval. You'll still get paid. It's just pre-approval. We need that from now on. It's not what they said. They just said if you end up costing us money that's going to make this contract worth less to us, then we're not going to be able to pay you what we said we were going to pay you, because the payment is based on what you're bringing to the table as of right now. So many people. No, Crowder did something very brilliant here, and I will give him credit for this. He's fucking brilliant. And some of you guys have fallen for this, and I apologize if I'm about to call you dumb. He said magic words. Big tech. Coming after big tech. It's the big tech. That's all he had to say. I'm on the side of the little guy. They're on the side of big tech. There are people who will never look past anything else that's said. He's standing up for the little guy, don't you know? Over big tech, where that little guy over there at the Daily Wire, he's in Susan's pocket. He's doing her bidding. Do I need to point out again that Crowder's doing that right now for free? Do I need to keep beating that drum? Crowder's literally censoring himself so that he can stay in Susan's good graces. He is censoring himself to stay on the side of the big con. But no. It's that little guy over there. That's the problem. It was a brilliant move. It really is. Say whatever you want about Crowder. He is really good at generating buzz. He's really good at courting controversy. And that's not a bad thing. Unless you're, kind of being duplicitous about it. Which he kind of is. I've avoided his vids just because I like him, but don't want to listen to this. Oh, are you talking about his two that he's come out with? They're not very good videos. The first one was way too long, man. Goodness, you probably, I know you don't work with the script usually, Steven, but you probably should have wrote one for that. Good God, that was a rambling mess. Crowder's gonna Crowder. I gave up on Crowder during the trial coverage when they talked and joked over every minute of it. I mean, if I still watch Crowder, or I was before they stepped away for their Christmas break. But it depends on what you. If you were looking for something where they were going to be quieter and let it, let you hear what was being said, the lawyer channels were probably the way to go during the trials. Crowder's looking for a joke to tell. That's his job. He's a comedian. He's looking for the funny. And if what you were looking for was a serious coverage of it, that just wasn't where you were going to find it. That doesn't mean he didn't have anything legit to say or anything, but every time he's in many ways, me and him are alike in this. You got something to say, you just say it. Thank you, Joe Biden. I'm not a tard, just the dementia's kicking hard. No cap, based now. Jill needs to get my nuggies. Wow. Joe apparently likes his nuggies. I dropped off watching him a while back. I've actually watched him more in probably the last year than I did the 2 years before that. Just I love Dave Landau. Dave Landau is such a great addition to that show. Everybody is better when Dave is there. They all play off each other better. Gerald has become much more relaxed and I hate to say it this way, but personable. He jokes more and he's not always so stiff. He used to, anytime it was his turn to talk, you might as well have put him up on a little soapbox. Where now it's a lot more laid back and he gets in on the jokes and stuff. It's a lot more fun. I watched the live court channels. People kept making me mad for talking. I hear you. I'll warn you guys outright. If I'm watching something like that, a reaction live, if I was going to do that, I'm going to be talking over the whole damn thing constantly. I can't help myself. Ben being called a neocon is hilarious to me. He's a Buckley conservative, but people don't like him because he's not a populist. There's a lot I disagree with Ben Shapiro on. I think if you want conservative values and stuff, he's probably a good ambassador for most of it. I really didn't like the Daily Wire, and I'm trying to think because I'm sure there was more than just Ben, but several of their takes. I know Ben's take during the speaker vote when they were voting for McCarthy, and he's just like, how he might as well have been a lefty on that one. He was parroting what the left was saying, like, oh my God, it's like embarrassing. You guys got to get out there and just like, don't give in. For somebody who just now, we read the thing, he doesn't know anything about negotiating. Well, Ben, when it came to Congress, you probably should have kept your mouth closed because they had a bargaining chip and they were using it. But that wasn't okay for old Benny boy. I actually am more of a Crowder fan than I am a Ben Shapiro fan. But what Crowder did here is fucking dirty. It just is. So, and I'm not going to apologize for saying, and I understand I'm in the minority here. I see everything out there and so many people just, can I ride your dick next, Mr. Crowder? And good on them. Hey, if you honestly believe it, that's fine. But if you're being honest about the situation, you have to admit that Crowder's problem is he was being asked to do what he does for free for money. I still need that explained to me why that's a bad thing. Somebody said, well, it's a 4-year contract. Again, he could have negotiated the contract. I still say, hey, if you're that stuck on it, let's try it for a year and see what happens. Thank you, Vil. Sticks Hexenhammer 666 called it the grift rights. I mean, there's a large part of that, absolutely. But I mean, in fairness, that's on both sides with the grift part of it. Frankly, if you look at somebody like Hunter Avalone, you want to talk about grift. Fuck. Conservatives have not learned how to grift as well as the left has. Y'all need to take some fucking lessons because you guys will kill somebody you suspect of grifting. Like, how dare you say the things we believe when we didn't give you permission to? That's not that I'm okay with grifters, but I mean, seriously, I hear what you're saying about that and what Sticks is saying there, but that is such a popular thing where people will start going after, oh, it's just for the grift. I don't even think grift is the right thing here because I believe Crowder believes in all this, but this was a con, which technically a grift is. This was a con. This was, I'm going to set this up so that I get this massive amount of publicity around the launch of this thing. It's going to bring in so many more people than it would have if I just launched Crowder's Mug Club, the brand name, for a network, the network. This has given him so much more, and so many people are so up his butt about it. Oh my God. And none of them are being honest. I'm sorry. They're just not being honest about it. But Monkey, he was gonna have to do what he's doing now. I know. Yeah, I was arguing with way too many people. Jack and I were talking after the show, and I kept telling him, okay, I'm gonna step away now. I'm gonna step away now. And it finally got to the point like I'm actually closing the window because I can't. I just can't. If I do this, I like to argue. I love to argue. And especially when I'm right. Especially when I'm right. And it's something like this where it's like, I can't believe so many people are falling for this. And whether or not you think Crowder set it up, I absolutely believe he did. But whether you believe he set it up or not, how can you fall for him complaining about working for money for what he does for free? How does that sit right in your brain? How does that become big tech? Is the Daily Wire in them? The Daily Wire, they're all about the pleasing big tech. Motherfucker, you do it for free. You're sucking Susan's dick for nothing. You got little cum bubbles on your lip and you ain't make a dime. You're demonetized. You're doing it. You're silencing conservative voices for fun. For fun. Quartering talking like when he told Elon he'd take over Twitter. Oh God, Jesus, man. Jeremy. The quartering is just, I can't even with him right now. Jesus fucking Christ, man. I'm pretty sure he's straight, homie. I'm pretty sure he's straight. Maybe back up a little bit. Let his wife get in there once in a while. She's a doctor. No, wait, that's the other guy. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen Crowder's wife. They just had kids. I do know a lot of Crowder stuff is changing. And I don't mean content wise or anything, but he's thinking ahead. You know, he keeps talking about wanting to pass off the torch. Pass off the torch. He just had a couple of kids. Like literally, they had twins. Those the twins are what, like just over a year now, a year and a half. He just had the major, basically chest reconstructive surgery because his sternum was pushed in or had that defect in it. That kind of stuff will wake you up, you know. Like, ooh, got to make long-term plans. I don't know how much that factors into it, but I mean, he certainly started talking a little bit different after the girls were born, or the girl and boy were born. The twins were born. Crowder straight. Haha. Look, man, I saw all the shit about Crowder being gay, and I'll be honest, I don't care if he's gay. But I don't think he is. Like, oh, he was talking to this guy really nicely. All right. He had to come to Jesus. Kind of. I mean, if you're a man, you know, and even married, you know, I'm responsible for this family. It's a little different when there's suddenly children involved, and that's who you're responsible for. All Jeremy was saying was play by the rules on YouTube for the free content. Then once you're behind the paywall, let it rip, like Nick does when he's on YouTube and then goes on. Professor Cass, it's literally what Crowder's been doing on the Blaze. And Jeremy, we're talking about Jeremy Boring now, guys, not Jeremy over at the Quartering. Jeremy Boring from Daily Wire. When he said, you know, you have that segment, piss off YouTube, it's how he would end his YouTube videos, piss off YouTube, and then he'd go over to the Blaze where he'd have the next hour or the next half hour to hour for free. Or sorry, behind the paywall. First part is free, then behind the paywall. But with Crowder, when it comes to YouTube, it isn't about the money for the Daily Wire, because even though they have that thing in the contract that said, you know, if you get demonetized, that is their standard boilerplate crap. That's one you take out because he's already demonetized. He's not making his money off of Twitter in the sense that, or sorry, YouTube. I said Twitter. He's not making his money off of YouTube in the sense that Susan's sending him a check. That's not what it is. He's using YouTube to build his brand elsewhere. He makes his video on YouTube and then says, hey, if you want to see the rest of this, you got to pay and go over to the Blaze or wherever he ends up next. You got to go over there. Well, if nobody's watching the original one, then only people who are already at the Blaze are going to know that's where you're at now. So you have to have that big lead in and then hope a good chunk of them come with you to the other side. He talked about having 350,000 people. Again, according to what Jeremy Boring said, there's no actual proof behind that number, but let's say it's true. He has 350,000 people. And even if every one of them followed him every day over to the Blaze, it's not half of his audience. It's not even half of the audience. It's not even half. The bigger number comes from YouTube. And the more people you get on YouTube watching, the more chance you have of somebody else picking up your subscription service. That's the value of YouTube. And Crowder damn well fucking knows it. And I know he fucking knows it because he pushes Mug Club every day, 4 days a week, 192 days a year, now on YouTube. So piss off. Fuck off with that stupid nonsense. They're being so mean to him, trying to shut up. Fuck off. They're just asking him to do what he already tries to do. And he's like, but their rules change and stuff. Yeah, and you've still been feeding it. You've still been feeding it. My problem with Crowder in this situation is the hypocrisy. As dirty as that phone call and shit is, it's the hypocrisy. You're a dirty tech supporter if you do that. You do it for free. It's not even hypocrisy. It's worse. You do it for free. Yeah. So I probably should just stay off Twitter for a day or two and let this shit simmer down because fuck. It's hard to believe there's that many stupid people out there. And I'm sorry if you're one of them that's on Crowder's side. You can be on Crowder's side and admit that he's being a hypocritical piece of shit here. You don't have to call him a piece of shit, but admit he's being hypocritical because he absolutely is. There's no getting around him being a hypocrite. Damn, Monkey, what's with the 2 streams? I used to do this a lot more often, man. I've just been lazy lately and going to bed or trying to go to bed. There's a couple of problems going on right now. One, this nonsense. And I love to fight. So arguing is just, rhetorical fighting. I also haven't slept well. I didn't sleep well worth a shit last night. Kata did another stream on this tonight. Well, Ricada's another one. As soon as he could come back to YouTube, he sure as fuck did it, didn't he? Everybody knows that's how you drive the people. And Ricada's had some great numbers on Rumble. They've dropped off. They're still definitely now smaller than his YouTube. He's had great numbers over there. He didn't walk completely away from it. So, yeah, I have not seen Ricada's take on this at all. So I'm not even guessing what he's saying. It's just, it is another good example. Yeah, you might be doing well on Rumble when that's your only choice. But when you can do both of them, which one's going to get the bigger audience? And which one's going to have the bigger audience overall? Ricada did excellent when he first got kicked off of Twitter. I keep saying Twitter. When he first got kicked off of YouTube. His numbers over on Rumble were fucking amazing. But eventually stuff dies down and it goes back to people forgetting that you're in this controversy and you go back to your normal audience. So is what it is, I guess. I also got annoyed with a friend of mine on Twitter. And it's all out in public, so I don't have a problem talking about it. But it concerns Andrew Tate. This one really annoyed me. You guys know the One-Ton Hammer from Minions of the Zoo. Really great guy, a friend of mine. Just because we had a disagreement on this doesn't mean he's a bad person. I'm not throwing him under the bus. But somebody had posted that Andrew Tate is not a role model, and I don't see how anybody thinks he is. And Sydney Watson responded, "Yeah, I don't see it either," or something to that effect. And Hammer said, well, of course you don't get it. But this isn't for women, it's for men. And that irritated me. Hey, Hammer, how you doing, my friend? It irritated me. Because this has nothing to do with the charges against Andrew Tate. I don't know if he's guilty of those or not. If he is, I hope he rots in prison. If he's not, I hope he's acquitted. But this is a man who bragged about basically pulling a 419 scam on men, taking advantage of their lonely state of being, preying on men for money. A 419 scam is the name given to the scams, the Nigerian prince scams. 419 is a legal code. And it's basically that is what he pulled. This is what he did. This is what he's admitted to doing. He'd have his little cam whores up there, and guys would start talking to him. And it wasn't even the girl they were talking to. It was another guy in a room somewhere talking to him, and be like, hey, I'd like to come see you. I'd like to come see you. And if you could just give me the money for an airline ticket, I would come see you. And so then the guy would pony up the money. And then she go, oh, I really want to come see you. Thank you so much for the money for the ticket. But it turns out there was a problem with my passport. I'm going to need money for a new passport. So the guy would send the money for the passport. And then she said, oh my God, it turns out that because of something in my past, I have to have a special passport. It's really expensive. I just send me that money and I will come see you. And so they'd send that money. And then just to fuck with the guy, he'd have the girl say something like, oh, I was going to go get the passport today, but I had a headache and I just didn't feel like it, which would set this guy who's now spent thousands of dollars on this woman, expecting her to come see him, into a rage, which they would then use to break up, to distance. You're scaring me now. And they said you'd wait 3 months tops, and that same guy would be back, and they'd run the same scam on him again. This is a man who preyed on men, preyed on their loneliness, preyed on their desire, and drained their bank accounts and bragged about it. He is not a hero to men in any way. And Hammer's argument, and Hammer, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is that, well, Andrew Tate has said some good things about men, and I'm guessing men's rights. We didn't get into it that deeply, but he said some good things. So I'm going to go by what his own professed actions are. He can repeat any nonsense that he finds on the internet and be like, I'm going to champion this. And maybe that way guys won't notice that I fuck men out of money using the very things that I tell them they shouldn't even be doing anyway. Literally, fraud is what we're talking about. Criminal behavior, taking advantage of lonely men. This is not a man that should be in any way put up on any kind of shelf. I don't give a fuck about any of the other stuff. That right there, this guy should not be listened to. And any men who are out there cheering this guy on because he happens to say some things you occasionally like, shame on you for that. What do you think the guys that listen to him were thinking? Do you think there's anybody out there going, wow, Andrew made some money off of this? I bet I could make some money off of that. Do you think there was anybody out there like that? I know there are. Why do you think he was bragging about it? This is a man who's going to teach you how to be a man. This is a man who's going to teach you how to make money. This motherfucker, exactly, Professor Cass, this is the shit that causes suicides. This guy just poured all of his money into this woman, and turns out she's just taking him for a ride. Hey, but he said, men don't need to be ashamed of being masculine. Well, that's a good thing, I guess. I should just stay off Twitter, if I'm being honest. I should just stay off Twitter. Andrew Tate's a cunt. He is a cunt. I kind of hope he's guilty so he rots in hell for what he did. Because he's admitted. This is his own testimony. He's admitted he committed fraud. And he preyed on lonely men to do it. And that's not okay. That's not okay. That's not something you can just gloss over with, well, he also said this. No, fuck that, man. I don't know anything about Tate, but that sounds like he was punishing them for being weak, and I don't care about Tate. That's not punishing him for being weak. That's taking advantage of people. Look, man, lots of people want to believe in dreams, and you're never going to get me on the side of it's okay to take advantage of dreamers, especially in this, man. When you know, I don't believe Tate believes anything he says. By the way, I think he's a fucking con artist. I'm gonna tell you that outright too. Anybody can look up the talking points and just repeat them, and do it with a really aggressive manner. Anybody can do that shit. But he's a twat. What he did is horrible. So fuck that guy. If you can't find a better role model than that, maybe men do need to step down and let women just take over. You know men are taken advantage of all the time, and you're like, well, it's okay that this man took advantage of them because he said the right things when I wanted to hear them. And Hammer, if you want to hop on and give your side of it, I'm more than happy to let you. But tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. We're not saying that it's okay for men to be taken advantage of as long as the person who does it has the right rhetoric on top of it. Anyone who both demonizes men but are also baffled by guys searching for some of the male role model or morons. I understand men looking for male role models. We've talked about that a lot on this show. Unfortunately, we as a people, men and women, are drawn to loud, obnoxious people. We mistake that as leadership when we don't know any better. Sometimes as a leader, you have to be that way. Typically what that is that's a little beta bitch trying to get the alpha's attention because that's the only way you can. Send me a link. Happy to, dude. Hang on a second, guys. I just got to Hammer. It's been a while since we DM'd, so give me a second here. I might have to go to your actual page because sometimes Twitter doesn't like you to actually see people you've DM'd before. I don't know why they do that. Oh, cool. It's right there. Da, 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 da. There you go, bud. But yeah, Andrew is a douche nugget, man. He's a piece of shit. That doesn't mean everything he's ever said is wrong. It just means he's not the one you should be listening to saying it. There's plenty of guys out there in the space. I thought the argument was about some men admiring him and women not understanding why. Which argument? My point was this man should never be looked up to in any manner because he's a bitch. He's a bitch who will steal from men and prey on the loneliness that he knows that they have, take advantage of that, and then turn around and talk about how men should behave and pretend he's some kind of advocate for men. Would it be okay if somebody... Wait, I'll wait. Nah, because I'm not trying to ambush him with this question, so I'm just going to throw it out there. If somebody beats a child but goes out there and talks about how horrible child abuse is, do we just ignore the child abuse? That's a fair comparison. I don't get where you make that separation. Social media culture is making people demand other people be held to a standard they wouldn't even hold themselves to. How do you mean? I don't think that's always true. It's okay for people not to be perfect, but I mean, we're talking about seriously holding in high regard a man who took advantage of men as some kind of male spokesman. Hammer, my friend, I want to get this out in the beginning. We are friends.
Yes.
We're going to disagree. It's okay, guys.
It's preferable.
I don't want people who I always agree with. I like people that I agree with. Don't get me wrong. I like when we agree, Hammer. But a lot of times when I have arguments, especially with friends, people are like, oh my God, mom and dad are fine. It's okay. It's all right.
I get that all the time.
Right? I know. So it's I
Me-
appreciate
meaning-
that. I
meaning
appreciate
is-
that people
Good.
want us to all get along and stuff, but it's okay to have a little disagreement.
Yeah, Minions
Anyway.
is a big group. We have our little, fights inside, just like every healthy family does.
Indeed, yeah. All right. So did I mischaracterize anything there? At least from your position?
We were kind of talking about two different things, but I see your point, but I see this as kind of a Covington deal.
How so?
I'm not gonna go by him embellishing and bragging because that's his brand. His whole thing is I'm alpha male.
Mhm.
I am rich. I am powerful. Anything I say, it happens. I am God amongst men. That's his point. So for him to embellish or even create things that he didn't do to make himself look bigger, I wouldn't put it past him.
Okay.
So even though he has said that he has run this scam, is there any proof? No, it's just his word. Now he's been detained and he's in prison. So
but not for this.
Right. But in the
Not
sense
for
of
this.
Covington, I'm going to wait until I see proof first before and if it's true, what you said and what he's being detained for, if either of those are true, I'm standing right next to you.
Well, let me ask you this though. Okay.
Mhm.
He puts himself out there as somebody who teaches men how to be men, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. By bragging that way, isn't that him teaching men to act that way towards other men?
Yeah. To some
So,
extent.
Isn't that damaging to men? Even if
What's
he
it
never
damaging
did,
to him?
even if he never did it himself, him putting it out there that one of the ways that you act manly is to do this kind of shit to other men. Don't you find that damaging? Don't you think it's possible that somebody's going to emulate that?
You'd really have to have a lot of, you'd have to start.
You'd want to have to have a Bugatti like he has.
You would have to have money to pull off that scam. If that's what we're talking about, the scam, if that's what we're talking about, you would have to have money to do that, to get it started.
You wouldn't need that much money. You'd need a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because you could make quite a bit of money off of one chick like that, as long as you had a couple of people doing the grift.
A girl who was, fairly attractive and was on board with it. And you would probably have to start off small. But I guess it's possible.
The whole idea of him even bragging about that, whether it's true or not, is despicable to me. And
it's a mistake.
It absolutely, in my opinion, disqualifies him of ever even being considered on the side of men. That doesn't mean he never says anything that I would agree with. But again, I could read Marx and there's going to be liberals who agree with me because I read it out loud on the stream. Doesn't mean I meant a fucking word of it.
Yeah. The only thing I can say about that is it was, if it's not true, then it was a mistake to make it sound like it was true. Not everything. I tried to point this out when we first started talking about it. The guy's not perfect. He's obviously.
I don't expect him to be.
When you get that attitude, like you're God King, you will do stupid things and make stupid mistakes. And I think this was one of them. If it's true, fucking bury him underneath the prison.
Keldrick, thank you real quick. Unlike other YouTube cults, the Monkosphere embraces a diversity of opinions, which ironically produces less in-group drama than the actual echo chambers. It is astonishing how little drama we have around here. Because we just don't. I mean, there's the occasional, we'll argue a little bit and then everybody moves on because, I cannot stress enough, and Jack put out something about this earlier too. Cannot stress enough how damaging it is to never listen to people you disagree with. Yeah. And even worse, not to ever talk to them. Because if nothing else, it dehumanizes the other people. It's easy to dismiss. I don't even have to talk to that person. I don't even have to listen to. That is never a way you should be. Yeah. Now, there are times where you can step in and go, you know what? That's my out point. That's fine. That's different. But if just from that guy's a liberal. So he probably likes TV shows you like. He probably likes foods you like. He probably likes
Sure.
all kinds of shit that you like, and you guys can be human together and still have different disagreements about this other shit. It's okay. But anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that hammer. It really is. It is healthy to have disagreement.
I agree with you 100% because our little microcosm on my side of the fence over here, we have liberals and gays, trans people, all kinds of people in the meetings, and you have to deal with them on a regular basis. And they're all good people. All that stuff in the back about I'm a Democrat and I'm an independent and all the political crap, and then all the trans stuff. And I mean, we got a couple of people of color in the group. All of that left versus right, men versus women, black versus white shit. I see that on a regular basis with my group, and we just love each other. It doesn't make any difference. We're all humans. We're all good people trying to do good things, just in a different way.
You know what I really hate?
What?
And I mean this sincerely, being wrong. and I'm not talking about opinion here. I'm talking about like verifiable facts. And one of the best ways to learn facts that you wouldn't normally even go look up is talking to people you disagree with.
Mhm.
If all you're getting is your side's facts, it's kind of like I've told you guys with the media before. You know how they can lie to you? It's not an actual lie. There's just an omission.
Yeah, partly true.
Yeah. And if you don't know to go look for that omission, you're just going to, oh, well, obviously that guy's the bad guy because this is what it says. And it's all true. The easiest way to test yourself is to engage with other people.
That's Shapiro's creed, almost verboten.
Is it really? I've said that forever and ever. I don't know if I don't watch. Believe it or not, guys, I do not watch Shapiro very often.
I watch his college things because he has leftists come up and challenge him, and he says he likes that because it makes him better at his side of the argument.
That's absolutely true.
Right, it's what you just said.
Even somebody like me, I argue with myself because I find that I catch my own logical inconsistencies better if I hear them out loud. Excuse me. But even then, I can't think of every counter argument. There are times that I hear arguments like, holy shit, I can't believe I didn't think of that. But the only way I hear it is if I listen to somebody I disagree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Old saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. It means paying attention. It's not even about keeping enemies. See, I hear what you're saying there, but this isn't even about enemies. Me and Hammer disagree on this part. It didn't make us enemies. We just disagreed on it.
We've been how long is it? Like 5 years?
Easily.
We've been back and forth 5 years. That's a long time. I consider you a friend. I mean, I consider you a friend way back in the days when it was just you and Scribe.
Dude, I'm not one of those. Internet friends aren't real friends. I know that's a Medicare thing and people love that. I disagree with that shit.
I do too. Yeah.
Jack is as real a friend to me as the people I hang out with in real life. You're as real a friend to me as the people I hang out with in real life. In fact, I probably spend more time with you guys than I do them. And you guys hear more of my opinions and my thoughts and my silliness than they do.
It's just a big old love fest here, chat. That's what it is.
But look,
we disagree with anybody else that really you've been in the show with. You and I disagree more than you and Scribe did, than you and Satsu, you and Dax, you and Jack. Me and you disagree on a pretty regular basis.
Indeed. I will say this though, you and I, when we've had our disagreements, they're probably the most amicable ones I have.
Really?
Really, truly. And I don't know why that is. But when you and I have our disagreements, we talk, and I mean, there have been times where I guess maybe not Jack, because when we've had disagreements, I don't think I could ever say it ever got contentious. But there were times with Scribbles it got contentious.
Really?
On
the air?
Oh yeah. I think the only one that I could say that never happened with is probably Satsu.
He's much too easygoing. I don't think he would ever get into anything serious.
It's not so much that, it's that's just not, I mean, even when we've discussed politics and stuff, that's not really where our relationship is. We are, I mean, gaming buddies, basically.
Right.
Yeah. And that's a different dynamic. It's like, he disagrees with it's not worth fighting over. Let's go kill a zombie, dude.
Do you remember any of the fights that you and I have had?
Offhand, no. Do you know how many
I
people I
remember.
fight
I
with,
remember them
dude?
clearly.
Do you know how many people I fight with?
Yeah, that's another point. You're on the air more than I am.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, um, if the only real pushback I ever got was you, I'd probably remember every one. But there are people who love to tell me how wrong I am.
The only one that stands out, I think, was probably our first one,
What was this
and
one?
um, it was the president of Turkey, and
Aradon?
I think that's who it was. He had come to the United States for something, and he had his personal guard waiting outside of one of the public buildings, and he was, talking to the president or vice president or somebody in Congress or whatever, and there were protesters there. And the protesters were, he's bad guy, he's bad guy. And his personal guard attacked the American citizens. And I got pissed. I got pissed because of that. I was like, who the fuck are they to come on our soil and attack our guys? And you push back on me about something.
Didn't they attack? Didn't the Americans attack first?
No, they protested with signs, and
I remember
the other guys didn't like what they said, and they attacked them.
I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember the specifics because I do remember the incident, but that was years ago.
Yeah, it was years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just picketing signs and yelling at them and that kind of stuff, and they provoked them enough in their culture. That kind of stuff. That's perfectly fine to go to fisticuffs. And you said is they shouldn't be protesting. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This is American citizens here. And what's stuck in my mind, and I'll never forget this. You said to me, are you questioning my patriotism? That's a quote. I don't know. I really don't know. Even to this day, I don't know if I was. What I was trying to say was, don't you see what's going on here? Foreigners are attacking us on our soil. Doesn't that make you angry? See, it made me furious.
I'd have to brush up on the particulars of it, but there are times when I would probably say the same thing I said then.
Yeah.
But again, I'd have to see it. Real quick, let me get this. Pumpkin Hawk, thank you so much. That one guy on Twitter who said that you were defending YouTube told me that you were siding with Daily Wire, who supports YouTube's rules. I told him that you were not on DW's side. You're calling Crowder a hypocrite. If there's a side in this, I guess I am on Daily Wire side. I am not on YouTube side. The way he got to that fucking leap of logic is asinine.
I saw that tweet and I literally laughed out loud. My girlfriend looked at me like, what are you laughing at? I was like, you're accusing Monkey of defending YouTube. Are you crazy?
Well, there's times I have defended YouTube, but never over the fucking censorious bullshit.
Right, exactly. I literally laughed out loud in the middle of the movie.
No, I do remember the discussion, but I just don't remember all the particulars. I do remember that incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
I felt bad. I felt bad. I felt like I insulted you, and I didn't mean to.
No. This is something you really do. There are times I don't want to say you can never insult me, but when it comes to especially just a spirited debate, argument, even yelling and name calling, I don't take it personal. I've had to explain to my wife, because I get very passionate about things, and it can trigger other people to get very passionate. Like you're not understanding. It's not that I'm mad at you or anything. I'm just passionate about the subject. And you can call me a fucking retard and I'm not going to take it personal. Because if you think I'm being a fucking retard, I'd prefer you to go, you're being a fucking retard right now, than go, I strongly disagree with you.
Oh. Ew.
Yeah.
That's a key.
I don't like fake civility. That doesn't mean you have to purposefully be an asshole. You can be passionate without doing that. But I don't take it personal because I do understand that passions rise. There are times I'm trying to think of an example to give one, but yeah, there are times you probably could actually piss me off. But if you lie about me, that will piss me off in a heartbeat. if you're being disingenuous about me,
Mm.
if we've had you go, okay, I think you were saying this, and I've corrected him, like that's not what I'm saying, and you keep at it, like, but, like, no, I've explained it to you.
Mm.
A follows B follows C, and you're just trying to make, you're just lying about me now. That's
Yeah.
when I'll get actually upset.
That's probably the worst part about Twitter is that whenever you talk, people try to take what you're saying and make it into the worst possible version of what you actually are saying. They try to make you bad. Everything you say is immediately bad by default. You can't just say something and be honest about it and be sincere. If you just say, well, I don't like this person. Well, that's because you're homophobic. Well, wait a minute.
Right.
You're going ballistic on something. I never said that.
You're probably right about that being like one of the worst parts of Twitter, which I tie to everything right now. I hate that I've been using this phrase so much. Everything is such a team sport now. You're on my side or you're evil.
That's
There
by
is real
design.
evil. Evil's real.
Yeah.
Chaos One, thank you. Monkey, you're such a Franco. Well, take
What is
off the
that?
O and make that a K, and you're right. But I kind of get it, and it's kind of what it's why Elon needs to keep, because he's talking about expanding the length of tweets and stuff, basically turning it into mini Facebook. Leave it how it is because it's where it thrives. But that doesn't make it a good thing necessarily. It's just a fun thing for me because I like arguing.
Yeah.
If you're not into that stuff, I see why people are like, no, it's just not. I get it. But I mean, this is sport for me. And especially when I'm arguing with somebody who is like a dyed in the wool lefty. Oh, I have so much fun. Especially if it's somebody who's just lying about me because they didn't like something I said. Like, well, challenge what I said, fucker. You
You're
can
really
call me
good
whatever names you want, but at least address the point.
You're really good at mocking people. You have a real talent for that.
This goes back to me being a kid and mom not letting me fight whenever I wanted to. I was not allowed to throw the first punch, but I'd like to
Really?
fight. So in order to be able to fight as somebody who deserved an ass whipping, I had to, let's say, goad them into hitting me.
Mm.
And a really good way to do that is mocking people. People
Right.
do not like to be mocked.
You developed that talent early on.
Mm-hmm.
I never
Really
got into
did.
fights. I was always
Oh.
big. I mean, I've told people many, many times, I'm 6'3", 220. I was that way in 9th grade. I was playing football, destroying people because I just grew up early. So no one ever really challenged me.
See, I had the opposite experience because I've always been the biggest or one of the biggest people in my age group. My older brother, 2.5 years older than me. I was taller than him most of my life. I was 6 foot at 13, but for some reason that made people challenge me instead of backing the fuck up. And it's probably partially my demeanor, and I understand that, but I like to fight, so it wasn't a big deal. I like to fight. It's fun.
Well, were you lean and lanky, or what was your? Because I was a football player, so I looked like Earl Campbell.
No, I've always been what they would call stocky. I'm a thick dude, and back then I was built, not fat, like I got in my 20s. I was muscular, but look, I know, and this isn't something I'm proud of, but I know just the way I walk pisses people off. I've been told that. You walk like you own the place. And
confident strut.
Yeah. John, thank you. Just say Chevron defense. God damn it. Just say, I'm not going to say it the way you want me to. Just say Chevron defense, tortious interference, fallacy, or put the nuggies in the backpack and Monk will hate you. I won't hate you. I will judge you. I will judge you harshly.
But getting back to Tate though, we were kind of talking around each other, and that happens all the time on Twitter. What I was talking about is his appearances in TikTok videos and on YouTube videos. I think the message he has there, which most people are aware of, they're not aware of his problems. the things he's doing, he may may have not done wrong. A lot of that stuff gets misconstrued as being bad too. But if you listen to it, he makes some weird statements. Like he said that once that he felt that women were property. You heard that, right?
I don't know if I heard that specific one, but I know he's been charged with saying that. Whether I heard it out of his mouth or not, yeah.
I saw the actual TikTok. He did say that. But what they didn't do is they didn't tell you the whole story. Just like the media doesn't tell you the whole story. What he was saying was, if you own something, you protect something, it's yours, and you fight for it, that's just like you would for a piece of property. And what they made him sound like he was saying was he's calling women property. And that's not really what he was saying. He was saying you have to apply the same philosophy to a girl that you would to your property.
A dog says he is Muslim. Stop it. Fuck.
He is now.
The point that I was trying to get across, though, and I understand what you're saying. I don't care what else he said.
I know.
Because of that point.
I understand your argument.
There's tons of people out there who've made really great points. Did you ever see Brittany Venti's video on Kevin Samuels?
No.
She made a hit.
I don't like Brittany. She smells like patchouli oil.
She looks like she smells like piss.
Yeah, she does.
I don't know if she does or not, but she has that look. Yes,
does.
ladies, you can look like that. You can too, gentlemen, just so you know. But she made this video, and it's all about how he had been a failed businessman before and how he wasn't in his daughter's life. And he's telling you to go out there and do all this stuff, and he's not even willing to do it himself. Two things about that. One, you can still be a good teacher and not actually live up to the expectations that you're telling other people to try for.
Sure.
You don't have to be perfect to be able to see good advice or give good advice.
That's my point exactly.
And that's the thing, though, with him. I mean, it would have been different if he beat his kid. What I saw of what Tate, even if it didn't turn out to be real, that bragging and what somebody said in chat, men do kill themselves over relationships.
Yeah.
And I just cannot give him any kind of credence as a male role model, regardless of whether he said good stuff or not. I not only believe you, but agree, because I have seen him taken completely out of context before.
Yeah. Which
shouldn't happen either. I think the fucker should just be ignored. Thank you, Mohammed. Women are property. Read my book. Don't ask the age. Stop it. Oh, you guys are having too much fun with that. But to me, there's a line. There's a line where, okay, this is too much. This is where I don't care anymore. I don't care how good you were. If you cross this line, somebody else gets to take the mantle. Michael, thank you. Tate has unironically said that he doesn't let his girls leave the house. I'm very traditional, but even that is too overbearing and bad influence. Well, I mean, in some parts of the world, that's just natural. Is that right? I don't think so, but if she's willing to go along with it. Now, it depends on what you mean by doesn't let. If he says, if you leave, then I'm not going to be with you. That's not the same as she tried to leave the house and he punched her in the face. Those are entirely different things.
The actual thing is here, he doesn't let them leave the house alone.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't let them leave the house. If they go out, he goes with them to protect them. Because Romania is not exactly a great place to live for women.
Well, even if it was strictly for misogynistic reasons, so she doesn't look at another guy or whatever, as long as she's willing to go along with it, women have agency.
Absolutely.
So that's not the kind of stuff that concerns me, even if that part is true, that part doesn't bother me. It's the taking advantage of men that does. I don't know about that, Monk. I believe in the phrase, practice what you preach. I think you should try to practice what you preach, but saying practice what you preach is a lot easier than always doing it. We all have failings.
Those who do. Those who can't, teach.
Let me ask you this. Do you have any bad habits, Ebony? Everybody has bad habits.
I do.
Yeah. We all know they're bad. We don't stop them. We might even try now and then. Look, I know smoking is bad for me. How many years have I been on the air now telling you smoking is bad for me? And I tell people, don't start smoking because it's a horrible habit and it's really hard to kick. I should not tell. If anybody, I have the experience to give them that knowledge. There was an episode of Scrubs where it's the one where the guy keeps coming in to scam people for drugs, and he comes back one time as a drug counselor, and he's scamming Elliot at the time, and Dr. Cox is calling the guy out, and she goes, "If you really thought that he was still a drug addict, you would not let him teach that anti-drug thing." She goes, "Of course I would. Drug addicts make the best anti-drug advocates because they've lived it. They know what all the bad sides of it are. If you don't have the experience, how do you do that?" I mean, you could still tell people, but you don't actually know. You need one vice to know what virtue is. That's fair enough too. Hammer's missing a toe because of his bad habits. I'm gonna one day too. I'm gonna keep mine in a jar.
That's diabetes. I wish I had more control over that.
Are you type 1 or type 2?
I am type 2. I've lost all the toes and most of my left foot and 3 toes on my right foot.
Yeah, when I was first diagnosed, I took pictures of my feet so I could remember them.
Oh, jeez.
True
Are you missing pieces?
No, not yet, but eventually.
Oh.
I want to remember what they look like when they were good.
It's not as traumatic. At least it hasn't been as traumatic for me as I thought. When the doctor said, "Look, we're going to have to probably remove some toes here," I was like, "Oh, well, that's what, I got diabetes. It's going to happen, so."
Danger says, if I remember correctly, Cox let Elliot get scammed to learn the lesson. In the first one, but when that guy comes back, he comes back again, and she believes in him because he's supposedly given up drugs. He actually lies to her in the end. He catches the guy still doing drugs, but he keeps that to himself to not ruin what little bit of hope she has left in people. It's a really great episode. I love Scrubs, man. They're so good at that kind of thing.
I've seen episodes of the show. I wasn't really watching TV when it was on the air originally, but I've seen episodes of it, and it seems like it's one of those shows that has all the appropriate actors and good writing to make a good show very easily.
There's very little of that show that I didn't care for. And we don't count season 9, so don't even bring that up, guys. But parts of season 4 with Molly, she's a psychiatrist they bring in. I didn't care for that stuff. And when they were trying to make Carla and Turk's relationship kind of fall apart there with that stupid kiss with Jake, that was just stupid. But for the most part, I love every other episode of that show. I can sit there and binge watch it for days.
I like Zach Braff. That's the guy's name, right?
Zach Braff, yeah.
And the black guy is the guy from Clueless who played Dion's boyfriend.
Donald Faison, I think is how you say it.
Faison, yeah, Faison, yeah. So yeah, and then the blonde. And that show was hot, man.
Sarah Chalk, yes.
Oh my god.
The replacement Becky on Roseanne. For the season that the other Becky went away, that was Sarah Chalk, and then she comes back for Scrubs. And yeah, I fucking love that show. It's so well done. Pumpkin Hawk, thank you. I remember my father telling me that I might not be able to tell you what to do, but I can definitely tell you what not to do. LOL. Now that's actually true. If you get old enough, you do learn that. Absolutely. I might not always know where you should go. I know where you shouldn't go, though, because I've done. That's kind of a problem with youth, because we all seem to have this innate desire to fail ourselves instead of just taking the good advice we're given.
Yeah, I didn't take much of my dad's advice, and I came to regret it in most cases.
Yep.
The only thing I ever really took from him was he said, say what you want, say what you mean, and then stand up for what you've said. And he says, if you're wrong, be the first person to admit it. That's the only thing I
Oh.
really took from him.
Yeah, it's excellent advice too. Wasn't Tara Reid on Scrubs? Yes, not the one that Biden might have fingered, but the other one. She was on there for a brief stint. And actually, hers is the other character that when she was first on it, I liked her. She played a character named Danny. When they brought her back as kind of a throwaway character, they turned her into Tara Reid instead. In the first one, she's almost this naive, not quite a Phoebe from Friends kind of character, but a little bit flighty. And then they bring her back, and she's this hard partying, drinking chick. And he kind of ruined that character. Should have left her how she was.
Scrubs, one of your favorite TV shows?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. You say it is your favorite or just one of your favorites?
It's one of my I'd have a hard time classifying my favorite TV show because there's just so many I like for different reasons. But I started watching Scrubs incidentally. It just happened to be the show that was on like when we were making dinner. And so nobody turned the channel, but you'd pick up bits and pieces of it here and there. And I just got hooked on it. And yeah, so I've seen all 8 seasons. Again, we don't count 9, guys. Entirety a dozen times at least.
Wow. Trek aside, because I'm a big Trek fan, but Trek aside, I do have a clear number one. It's House MD.
I love House.
I fucking love House.
My problems with House, again, the last season of House, why do so many shows stop a season before they should? Or a season after they should, sorry. I love the end of House. The absolute end of House was great.
Yeah.
But the season leading up to it was crap.
Yeah. As soon as they went to the whole thing with prison.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, this is not as good as the first 3 or 4, seasons of the show. It was still good, but just wasn't quite as good. But it was nice that they tied it off completely instead of leaving something unsaid at the end. That doesn't happen very often. Usually they leave something going.
What I loved about the end is all through the show, House is like, feelings and all that shit don't matter. He clearly cares about Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
There's no denying it, no matter how much he wants to play it off, or even Wilson, like, this is just, you're using me kind of nonsense. It's clear that he really does. And then the final part of the show is him giving up everything just to spend a couple of months with that guy until he dies.
Yeah.
And you see, like, the motherfucker really does have a heart.
Yeah. Pretty amazing.
Amazing
writing.
So well done.
Hugh Laurie, what an actor. Holy man.
It just sucks that season had to happen for that to happen. I really didn't like when they got him and Cuddy together either. I get what they were going for because in TV, for some reason, they always have to do this shit.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Instead of playing them off each other, which is, they should have left it. That dynamic worked.
It did.
And then they just killed it. And you get a couple of fun episodes with them trying to learn to live together. And then it's just cliche.
Yeah.
But the first 3 seasons, the original cast is, I don't want to say it's my favorite, actually. I think it's complete of any of the cast is the best complete cast. Season 4 is my favorite when he's doing the new interns and he's got all of them there.
Yeah, that was great.
That is my favorite. I will, anytime I turn on House these days, if I'm not like currently in a rewatch, I start at season 4 because that first episode's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Cutthroat bitch really made that. She was really a great character in that.
She was. And I feel bad for her because she really wasn't a bad actress.
No.
And she never went on to the fame that she probably could have gotten.
Well, she played the love interest who dies, giving away the show here, and then comes back as his mental projection. That was pretty interesting writing.
And the way that she dies, and it's House's fault, but not really.
Yeah.
His fault because she came out that night, but Pumpkin Hawk, thank you. Am I the only one who thought that Cuddy is really hot? LOL. I did like Cuddy, but she was cuter when she was a little bit younger on the show Sports Night.
She did okay in House's Dream, where she was in that mini skirt and
Oh,
white leggings and
when
the
she's
crop
dancing on the
top.
pole in the bus.
That's
Yes.
pretty good.
Fuck yeah. God damn.
Like, oh my god,
Hmm.
she's actually pretty hot.
Yeah, she really is. She played a minor character on a show called Sports Night.
Mhm.
Bobby Burnson. She was a sit-in sportscaster host.
Hmm.
That's another show that it was a good premise. It only lasted 2 seasons, and they saved the show because it was going to get canceled. And a write-in campaign happened, and then they come back with season 2, and they just destroyed the fucking show.
Mm.
They take the happiest, go luckiest guy there and give him deep-seated mental problems to where he ends up embarrassing his best friend on air just to prove a point. I was like, why would you do that?
Yikes.
Was that the chick who played Mike's girlfriend Precious in Friends? I don't know if I remember Precious. Did they ever show her? I don't know.
I don't know the show.
I don't remember. I do know that the chick who played Cutthroat Bitch, what the fuck was her name on the show?
I can look it up.
Fuck, I should know this. I forgot her name. She was in an episode of not House.
Amber
Fuck.
Volakis?
Amber, that's it, Amber. She was in an episode of Castle with another actor who I think is entirely underrated, who probably missed his big shot, who started in Buffy as the first place I saw him. And the two of those seem to do, minor characters here and there, when both of them are actually pretty good actors and certainly have the looks for it. But yeah, for some reason they just never got that main calling.
Yeah, the actress's name who played Amber was Annie Dudek.
Say that again.
Her name, the character's name was Amber Volakis on the
Yes.
show. The actress who played her was Annie Dudek.
Annie Dudek.
Yeah, that's the
Gotcha.
actress's name.
John, thank you. I don't put out Uvalde PD. Don't worry. I don't go all the way in. Dark. But I like shows like House. This is a true story. One of my friends, he's like, you got to watch House, dude. I'm like, why? He's like, you'll love it. He's just like you. True story.
I don't think that's true.
That is absolutely true. It's absolutely.
I mean, the story's true, but I don't think that's true about you.
It's. I'm probably closer to House than most people think because House was logical. He cared about right. He didn't care about the rest of it. Go ahead, insult me all you want, whatever. Just what I'm about is finding the answer.
Yeah.
And he was also insulting and happy to be so.
His insults went to the quick though. He didn't just call you a dick. He drew your love life out for your wife in front of everyone to see. He was really bad.
Yeah,
but he did the little short guy. What was the guy who was a plastic surgeon? What was his name? I forget. Taub. Man, he just humiliated the guy over and over again. It was glorious.
Yeah, I wouldn't go quite that far, but
no.
About halfway. About halfway. Funny, I always thought of you as Dr. Cox. I've heard that before too.
Who's that?
Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
And then the other one I get is Chandler from Friends because I'm a smart ass. Those are my three. If you guys are ever like, what's Monkey like? Take those three and mash them into a ball, and there you go. And I'm okay with it because he's obviously an exaggerated form of that kind of person, but I prefer honesty, and yeah, I can be cleverly mean. I don't waste that on people on Twitter because calling them a dick on Twitter is just easier.
Yeah, when people call me names, I don't have any problem with people calling me a name. That doesn't bother me at all. It actually makes me laugh, especially if it's somebody who's a friend. They call me a name. I usually laugh and say, yeah, you're right, I am. Oh, Hammer, you're such a dick. Yeah. Sometimes I could definitely be a dick, and I laugh about it. It's when somebody goes after, like House would go after your heart and to try to hurt you.
Oh yeah.
That's when I have a problem.
I have a knack for finding people's weaknesses. Yeah. And if pushed, absolutely, I'll fucking smack you with it. It's not something I'm proud of. It's just how I was born this way. It's my God-given talent. God wanted me to make people feel bad about themselves.
That's terrible.
It is.
Can I get a little bit of a call back to Daily Wire Crowder
sure,
thing?
Please.
I don't want to talk any length about it because you already went over it in detail 3 shows now.
3 times now, yeah.
But I got to agree with you that, and maybe I'm even further along with this, but I don't think this Daily Wire did anything wrong. Here's a guy whose contract is up with the Blaze, right? And they say, hey, you're looking for a home? Here's a home. All he has to do is say, well, I don't want that home. Okay, no problem. There's fair. Everybody shakes hands and walks away. But he has to turn it into this whole thing that it never needed to be. I'm definitely Daily Wire. And you said that you were probably the only one who was Daily Wire. And I thought to myself immediately, no, I'm on the same page with you.
Well, I said I'm in the minority, and we absolutely are.
Yeah,
we absolutely are.
I seen
why. I don't know.
What did they do wrong? They offered the guy money. What the fuck is wrong with that?
Everybody's constant, and this is why I said earlier, he really was brilliant in how he sold this. Yeah. Big tech. They're working with big tech. And that's all he had to say. And the teams lined up. Well, I'm not big tech. I got accused of fucking standing up for YouTube, for fuck's sake.
It still makes me laugh.
Proof that this is just team sport bullshit.
Yeah.
But a lot of people look at that contract and they see that big hit. $100,000 for missing a show. Yeah, that's a lot. It's actually almost it's over 1.5 times what he's paid per show if you do the math. He's paid $65,000 per show. 12.5 million divided by 192, it comes out to 65,000 and some change.
Yeah, he misses one, gets hit for 2.
Yeah, basically. But again, the thing is, it was based on the schedule he already kept, and it was a jumping off point. It's not this is the contract. And
you said you didn't think he was a bad negotiator.
No, I don't think I don't think he planned to negotiate at all.
Yeah, but not even attempting to negotiate makes you a bad negotiator because you didn't even try to start the process, let alone be good or bad in the middle of it.
No. See, he can still be a perfectly good negotiator. And actually, I would argue that if I'm right on all of this, I think in a way, he was better negotiating than anybody else in this situation. He played the audience. He got them all on his side. He never had to do anything but say no.
But doesn't this screw him at the end? Because who's going to offer him anything now?
Well,
I wouldn't if I owned something big like the Daily Wire or anything like that. I wouldn't go near this guy.
It depends. It depends on how successful his offshoot is. Oh wow, Comrade Kitty, thank you so much. That is very, very generous. For granddaughter to win again, Monk. Thank you so very much. Yeah, she is so excited about this, and it's because of you guys. Thank you. That is very, very, very generous. Thank you. I will make sure that goes over there. Yeah, Little Butt's doing her American Heart Foundation, American Heart Association. That's what it is. Fundraiser through school again. If you donate and let me know that's where you want it to go, it'll go immediately over there. I don't keep a dime of that. But anyway, the whole thing was based on his current schedule, and he could have went in there and negotiated. I don't think he ever wanted to, and I think that shows he never wanted to, because if he had, who knows what kind of deal he could have gotten. Maybe he could have even got it so that the penalty, instead of being 1.5 times what he was, what paid for each show, get it down to a half. The only breaking point that I see, the only deal breaker that I saw besides the total amount of money being $30 million a year, which is what Boring said, The only other one is the ads. You got to do the ads. It's how we pay the bills.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's still the right link for Hammer. Oh, I didn't see you even change that. I'm so sorry, Nuts. Is that the right link
Yeah.
for you, Hammer?
I'm still in the minions. Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I didn't have that chat box open. Actually, I'm just reading the one here in StreamYards. There we go. Thank you for dropping those nuts. But yeah, I don't think he ever meant to do this. I think that when he realized that the Blaze wasn't going to give him whatever it was he wanted, and we can only speculate about that because he hasn't said. I think he immediately was like, you know what? Then I'm just going to start my own. Everybody else has been doing it lately with really good results. The Daily Wire did it. Tim Pool has basically done it. Go actual solo, get all of the money. And then he realized that he had an opportunity to make a big deal out of this, because say what you want about the man, he knows how to court controversy.
Yeah.
And he understands the power of courting controversy.
Yeah.
I don't think this was an accident. I think this was perfectly planned. And to back that up, he recorded that phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. That shows premeditation.
Yep. He didn't go, oh, this is what they said on that phone call, and they had to have a he said, she said. I got tape.
Yep.
And I've only ever taped 3 people. And this one just happened to be one of them, huh? That's lucky.
Just happened to be. Yeah, just happened to be.
That's a stroke of luck right there. It's a good thing it wasn't the guy you talked to before that. Thank you, Professor Chaos, for Little Butts AHA. Did those fundraisers as a kid too. Thank you so much for that. You guys are. She was so happy when I talked to her the other day. She was telling me about, she'd already shown me all this stuff, which was cute. She's showing me all the stuff that she got last year again, and her favorites and all of those. Yeah, she's so geeked about this. So thank you for that. I need to keep a running count on this now.
I want to donate for Little Butt 2. I'm waiting until I get paid on the 1st, because I had my hot water heater die on me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That sucks.
$13.96 to replace.
Fuck, how long were you without hot water?
About a week. And I'll tell you, man, it was when it was like 9 degrees up here. I'm taking what you call a GI shower, where you just wet a washcloth and you just do the important parts kind of deal.
A hooker's bath, yeah.
Yeah, that will wake you up, let me tell you. Holy cow.
We had ours, it started leaking. It's like, okay, we got to replace that. And it took us about a month to save up to get it. And then it took almost like 2 weeks. We have so much problems getting people up here. We were able to get a new hot water heater, but to have somebody install it, it took us a couple of weeks to get them in there. And they actually had to redo the piping a little bit, because this one was a tiny bit taller than the other one. And the old one was like perfect fit. So they actually had to make a new kind of a hook loop up on top of it to make it all fit properly. But yeah, we were without water for almost 3 weeks, because it finally dies, and it's like 2 weeks later. Luckily,
it was warm out.
It was summertime. So
you're lucky.
Yeah, those little fuckers are expensive.
The thing is, the water heater itself didn't fail. It didn't leak any of that kind of stuff, but the bottom element burned out.
Oh yeah.
And when it burned out, the fuse box, breaker box, didn't kick off right away, and it melted the area before it finally did kick off. So they couldn't even get the old one out. They had to replace the water heater.
That sucks.
So, but I bought a real nice one, so I don't have to worry about it for at least 20 years.
Yeah, ours is about 10 years old now. And that's the kind of thing you don't want to skimp on.
Yeah. They're not supposed to last more than like 15 years.
Yeah, I think ours, if I remember correctly, it's probably been 10 years. 5 to 10 more years left on it. Just have to keep an eye on it. It's starting to get to that point where you keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Change the subject. We're boring, chat.
I don't care if they're bored.
With our homeowner speak.
I remember when we replaced ours, it was really at the time where everybody was pushing the tankless water heaters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it sounds like a good idea, but we'd need uh, at least 5 of them, because 2 sinks and a sink in each bathroom, a
Mhm.
tub in each bathroom, and then the kitchen sink. And it was actually cheaper to just buy the regular water heater
Yeah, yeah,
by a lot.
yeah. I asked the guy if I could get the same quality, but in something smaller or bigger, because it's just me now. There's no
Mhm.
reason to have, a big dual element water heater like that was in there. And when I eventually actually got it, and he says, no, he says, to go higher or lower, you spend more money because it becomes a special order.
Yep. Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I picked mine out of the showroom at Menards. Like, I want that one. And even then, like I said, our old one was it was like 2 inches shorter than the one we bought.
mhm.
So the old one had to have been the special ordered one. So, eh, homeowners. I like owning my own home. Don't get me wrong. But I see people, bitch about paying rent and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but if your water heater goes out, that's somebody else's problem.
Right.
There's a leak in your roof, that's somebody else's problem.
Yep.
If you have to
Well,
replace a toilet, that's somebody else's problem.
I'm learning very quickly what it is to be a homeowner
Oh,
because
dude.
I mean, I have my farm, which is shut down for the winter, and I'm living in my mom's house. She passed in October. I'm
Oh,
living in
sorry to
her
hear
house.
that.
Yeah, she's 94,
Good.
old
That's a
age.
long time. Good, good
Good
life.
woman, good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, we're up in the mountains, Pennsylvania mountains,
Mhm.
and we have a well. There's not, city supplied water. We have a well. Our well pump died. So they went to pull the well pump out to put a new well pump in, $1,200, no big deal, plus installation. They couldn't get the old pump out. So they brought in all this specialized equipment and tried to pull it out. And some of the equipment that they used to pull it out got stuck in there.
Oh,
So they said, there's nothing we can do. We can't get out. You're going to have to drill a whole new well.
oh, fuck. They were worried about
Twelve,
that.
twelve
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
thousand dollars.
They were worried about that with ours because when our well died, it's like 200 feet down. I forget the exact number.
Oh, I'm
And
700 feet.
they go all the way down and they get to the last piece and they can't get it out. And on the last time, when he's like, all right, if we don't get it this time, you're just going to have to do a new hole. They finally pulled it up. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
you're lucky.
God. Yeah, that fucking piece that came out, man. Even my father-in-law who works on wells, he goes, I can't believe you kept water going in that thing. Because every so often I would get in the well, prime it, and just sit there and reset it until it would finally give us a little bit of water for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we did that for well over a month. And
Mine just kept losing prime. You would turn the water on and you get air, and then finally it would, and you get water, and it would be fine until you turn the water off. If you let it sit for like 5 minutes and turn it back on, air again.
ours
And it's
turned out to
getting worse
be,
and worse.
if we turned on the one upstairs, we'd lose the prime. Downstairs didn't seem to be an issue. But as soon as somebody
Mm.
turned on that water upstairs, gone. It just did not have enough in that pump left to get it all the way up to the top floor.
Was
So,
your well already there when you bought the house, or did you put the well in yourself?
no, it was already here. Yeah.
Oh.
So that one, we got real lucky on that one. Yeah, home ownership is expensive, guys. But
Yeah.
in the long run, if you're actually saving up for repairs and stuff, it's not as bad. It's a lot easier to say. Here's one for you, Ebony. A lot easier said than done. You should. But yeah, we'll do that next month.
The thing about home ownership is it just never ends, because first it was the well, which like really wiped me out. It took me a while to make sure I was still back on my feet again. And then I had a leak in the roof. So I had to take care of that. And then I had to put gutters around the entire house because I was starting to get water stagnating around the outside of the house. And if it would freeze, it would cause damage. So after fixing the hole, then I had to put gutters up, and then my water heater went. So it's just like, I can't get ahead of it.
See, we've been here for 20 years now, so it's not as bad because it's spread over. But we've had to replace the heater,
Mhm.
the water heater, the roof, the deck.
Didn't you have a boiler that you had to put in that was real
That's the
expensive?
heater.
Oh, okay.
It's boiler heat, and yeah, that the old one just died. It was barely working. Thankfully, we got through the last winter before they finally got it in, because it should have been replaced easily a year before.
Mhm.
Before they finally did it. Luckily, we made it to summer, and right before the beginning of, we're actually, as we're going into winter, they finally fucking got it replaced. Let's see, the garage roof, the well. Somebody said the need a prime pump. It wasn't the prime pump. The problem was the way this thing is. It's a long pipe, 4 foot maybe. This big, thick, fucking heavy pipe, and at the bottom of it, it has all. It's pointed, and at the bottom, along the side there, it's got screens and holes. That's where the water comes in.
Mm.
They were so completely corroded, barely anything could get in. It had
Yeah.
been there for like 40 years. So,
Oof.
yeah. This house was built in 69, and it had been there the whole time.
Wow.
So, yeah. They let me keep it. I have it still outside. Just because it's an interesting showpiece. But yeah, I like owning a home, and I get why people don't want to rent, especially if you're renting an apartment. We were so happy to get out of the fucking apartment, man.
Yeah.
We had
I
3
mean,
kids.
you want to play music or, you know, break out some tools or something like that and make noise and that kind of stuff. It's much better if you have a house because people aren't banging on your walls and your floors and shit. You know, you're trying to
My
live your life.
son's drum set is still set up in the garage, and when he comes over, he still plays it.
There you go.
Never had a single complaint from a neighbor about it.
You don't really have any close neighbors, though, do you?
My closest neighbor is probably, I'm not good with distances like this, maybe 50, 75 yards away.
Oh, okay.
And then the other one, you can't even see him if it's summertime because of the trees. He's probably 2 football fields away. So
That
then,
sounds very much like my mom's house where I'm at right now.
yeah,
The
they're
farm, my farm,
not-
there's nobody within 5 miles of my farm.
oh yeah, see, that's even better. They're far enough away that we can both be loud, and at worst, you'll hear a little murmuring of it.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Although I will say this, because we got new neighbors, and my old neighbor, he passed away. The estate sold the house, and the couple that moved in, they got young kids there. If I had to guess, I'd say 9, 5, and 3.
Mhm.
And it's so fun to hear kids in the yard again,
Yeah, yeah.
because that's how it was, with my kids all growing up. And then when the girls are over, but otherwise it's so quiet here. It's like it
Yeah.
just sounds right to have kids playing in the neighborhood. And they're not annoying or anything. They're not like screaming and being rambunctious. It's just the sounds of kids playing outside. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Energizing.
Yeah. Nostalgic.
Yeah. That too, especially from my own youth, because man, I grew up in the city. So my next door neighbors my whole life were literally either right next door, or we shared a wall. A whole lot of condominium kind of houses out there in the naval naval areas. And so there were kids everywhere. And because you went into naval housing like that because you had kids. The least amount of kids anybody on our court, which is just a fancy name for a cul-de-sac, guys.
I live in a
Was
cul-de-sac.
3. Yeah, so 3. And there were like 15 or 16 houses. Do the math on that. How much noise was in the neighborhood every day? And then I move here where there's nobody. We don't even get trick-or-treaters here.
Yeah, neither do I.
That blew me away when we first moved up here. I had all ready to go on Halloween, and not a single fucking person.
Yeah.
It's like,
I grew
well,
up
I guess that we're not going to have to buy candy.
I grew up in a suburb, so house to house to house to house to house. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You walk to school,
yeah.
you pass like 30 houses, just get to walk to school kind of deal. So trick or treating was like an event. You'd have at least 100 people in a night. So you had to like go out and buy a lot of candy. But I keep calling my mom's house. I guess it's technically my house now, but there's very few kids. It's mostly older people. The guy right next to me has a 14-year-old kid who's a gamer who plays Fortnite all the time. So every time we're talking, he's talking computers to me. And across in the corner, it's an older couple, a little bit older than me, but not much. And then across the street is a younger couple, more your age, like 45-ish. And they got a couple of kids, but they pretty much keep to themselves. But like I said, my farm, there ain't nobody within 5 miles. So, when I was living there, I lived there for 4 years. I don't know what to do with the place. I might sell it, or I might sell this place. I haven't figured it out yet, but that was quiet, like deathly quiet, especially at night, because the trees aren't really near the house. They're not they're on the other side of the barn. So there's no crickets or anything like that anywhere near the house. So at night, especially if it's like, you get Pennsylvania nights, some of them are like pitch black. It's pitch black outside and there's no sound at all. It gets a little spooky.
We get crickets, as you guys have all heard. But otherwise, yeah, dead silent here at night because we're away from everything.
Yeah.
Occasionally you can hear the highway that's not that far away, but for the most part, yeah, it's just so serene. It was a culture shock when we first moved up here. And when we first moved up here, we lived in the town proper. So we did have neighbors and stuff. But even then, I mean, most of this place is old people.
Yeah.
So even then,
you're in Michigan? Is that where you are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's just a small town, Michigan. So it's small town anywhere. And it was a culture shock because I'd never lived like that. Really, we'd stayed up here for a couple of months when I was 10, right before we moved to Virginia. So we lived here for 3 or 4 months. That's not really enough to get all that used to it. But after we moved up here for real when I was 17, it becomes so weird. And at the time, man, the entire fucking city would shut down at 5:00. Nothing was open on Saturday or on Sunday. Most things weren't open on Saturdays. I'm like, I used to be able to go get nuggets at 3:00 in the morning. What the fuck is going on here? This is weird. But like I said, I like the fact that we get to hear noise again, just a little bit. I don't want, somebody who's going to be annoying. That is the good thing about not having your neighbors really close. And when we moved out of the apartments, we lived in 2 different apartments before we moved here. The first one, the neighbors it was 8 apartments in each building, 4 on bottom and 4 on top. We were the top one on the right. The top one on the left, who we shared a fucking wall with, fought constantly. Like, you'd have swore they were beating the shit out of each other. And it's like, I got kids trying to go to sleep, motherfucker. I'm going to come kick your ass. If she doesn't do it, I'm going to shut the fuck up. And it was never the same guy. She was looking for that new baby daddy. Is this one you want me to bring up?
Yeah, that's the picture of the farm. That was from last summer.
Oh, wow. That's a nice place.
Yeah. You can see like there's nothing anywhere near me. And that road that runs across the front, that dead ends about a half a mile down. And there's nobody else on this road.
Old wooden farmhouse?
Old wooden farmhouse, yeah.
Oh, I fucking love those. Those are my favorites.
Yeah. So there's no traffic because this road dead ends. And there's no one else on this road except for me. So there's no car traffic either. And the entire thing is rimmed with mountains. You can see them in the background. That goes all the way around 360. So you don't hear anything from anywhere else. It doesn't make it over the mountains. So I'll tell you, if you're one of those people who like horror movies and Jason Voorhees kind of stuff,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's at night at the farm, man. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, we have the woods right behind our house, and there's no light behind the house. So if you go up there at nighttime, yeah, you get that same kind of vibe. We live on a dead end road, and we shouldn't get very much traffic, and we really don't. But every now and then, some drunk will think he's on the next road over. And one time, we had friends staying with us. They were moving to Kentucky the next day. And the family was mom, dad, 3 kids, an older son, a middle daughter, and then a much younger daughter. Well, the younger daughter and the son and dad had already gone down. Mom and the middle one stayed and were just staying with us for one night because they had to finish something up. I don't even remember what it was. But I'm sitting there at about a little after midnight talking with the mom, and we're just chatting. Everybody else is asleep. And suddenly we hear this god awful crunch. Her daughter had parked at the end of our driveway. Instead of coming all the way up into the drive, she just parked down at the bottom of it. And some fucking drunk thought he was on the next road over and just kept going and plowed right into her car.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a night. They were able to get everything else into mom's car and still get moved down. But yeah, that car was fucking totaled. And this drunk guy gets out of his car like, oh, dude. I'm like, for real?
Oh, no.
For real? Yeah, he went to jail.
She's lucky she wasn't in the car.
Yeah, yeah. They'd only been there for like an hour or 2 hours at that point. I'm a night owl, so I was up anyway. But yeah, and her mom went in the car. What was that sound? I'm like, somebody just hit your daughter's car. She goes, "Nah." I'm like, I promise you, that's what we just heard.
It's a very distinctive sound when a car hits another car.
It is. It really is.
You hear cars that you think are getting in an accident. You hear cars screech, like you hear someone slam on their brakes, and you sit there and you wait. Are we going to hear the sound?
Yep. I've only heard live accidents a few times in my life, but that is an unmistakable sound.
Yes, it is. I scare myself. That's the reason why I'm so careful with my cars, because I watch videos of car accidents.
Oh yeah.
I get so scared. I don't even want to get on the road and drive anymore because I've conditioned my mind that anytime I go out there, someone's going to hit me, you know? So I only go out when I absolutely must get in my car and go somewhere because I don't want to ever get into an accident, you know? So I drive like a grandma.
I just don't trust other people. And I never have. And I've always been a careful driver because of that. And my wife thinks it's that I don't trust her because I'm like hyper vigilant if I'm in the other seat. It's like, no, baby, that guy right there, if he slams on his brake right now, you are too close. This is gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah.
But why would he do that? Maybe just because he's an asshole.
Somebody runs out in front of him. You never know.
We were driving to Frankenmuth. It's a city here in Michigan that has this year-round Christmas town. I forget what they call it. Bonners, is that what it is? And we're driving, and we're near Saginaw, which I know this means nothing to you, but people from Michigan know what I'm talking about. And we're driving, and the car in front of us, nobody around him. It's middle of summer. There's no ice or anything. He just loses control and does a 360 in the middle of the fucking highway.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck just happened? And then he just drives off like nothing happened. Like, that's why you don't get too close. It's not because I don't trust you. I trust you. It's just I don't trust anybody else on this fucking road.
It's a smart way to be. Defensive driving is a smart way to be.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Always drive like other people are morons. Well, dangerous. It just so happens I live in Michigan, so they are. Michigan drivers suck. Now, I will not claim, like I do with the Michigan roads, that they're the worst anywhere, but they are definitely among the top 10, I promise you. They are fucking horrible drivers. Let's do a Michigan stop. That's not a stop. You didn't even try to brake. But the cops didn't see me. That doesn't make it okay, dipshit. That's my favorite thing in Michigan when somebody breaks the traffic laws. A cop didn't see me. Like, that doesn't mean you did it right.
Still wrong. You're just lucky you didn't get caught.
Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. Yeah, that's what it is. And if you're a kid or a lady, you probably like it. For me, it was boring as shit. I got to be honest with you. Like, look, Christmas decorations as far as the eye can see. Oh, look, there's another homemade Christmas decoration.
I guess Mortal Thinker is also in Michigan. Maybe not. He says we only have 2 seasons in Michigan, winter and road construction.
True story. That is an absolutely true story.
Uh,
A lot of people said Winter and Orange Barrel.
what does that
Same
mean?
thing.
Oh,
The
okay.
orange barrels
Oh,
for
the orange
throat
barrels.
destruction.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Nut says, I would love to see Browners. I've ordered from them. It's a neat place. It really is. But for me, it was all the other stuff that's there because they also have like a very wise mall strip, at least while we were there. It had like a gymboree kind of thing for kids, and it had an arcade and it had all kinds of fun stuff to do rather than looking at homemade Christmas ornaments everywhere. It's a famous place, world famous place. If you've never heard of it, check it out. It's a reason
Yeah.
to come to Michigan, I guess. There's got to be one. Can you tell I'm down on Michigan? Actually, the fucked up part about Michigan is actually a really pretty place. It's just the roads suck. And government wise, they make some really stupid fucking decisions.
Yeah. Pennsylvania is beautiful. It's very forested. It's very
Mhm.
green here. There's not any big industries. It's not like New Jersey where there's, toxic waste everywhere. It's very beautiful here, but it's a very blue state. And like you were saying about making poor decisions, government here is awful. It is awful.
I've only ever been to Pennsylvania as we're driving through it. And for me, it's the same problem I have with West Virginia. It's just, I don't like mountains. I'm not a mountain
Why?
person, and they're everywhere. I'm a
Why?
flatlander, man. I like flat land.
Okay.
Uh, I want to be able to run free, drive straight, grow corn, normal shit. Driving through the mountains, it's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It's gorgeous. I got some great pictures on the last couple of trips we've taken down to my father-in-law's because we cut across Pennsylvania and then head south. It's a gorgeous fucking place. And there's one part when I forget where we stop. But right before we turn to go down into West Virginia, into Virginia, there's a part in the mountains where in the morning time, you're above the clouds.
Yeah.
It's fucking gorgeous. I would never want to live there. That's too many fucking mountains, man. It's beautiful to see, though. If you guys have never done it, definitely drive through. It's fucking gorgeous. And stop somewhere so you can get first light. Go out at first light. And when you look out and it's like, is that a lake? And you're like, oh, fuck, that's a cloud. And you're on top of it. It's fucking awesome. Wouldn't want to live there. Give me my flat land.
The mountains around here help keep sound out, but they also help keep weather out. So whenever it rains, it always rains around me, but never on me because the rain doesn't make it over the mountain.
Very nice. Yeah.
So it's I mean, not like it never happens, but most of the time it rains around me somewhere, it never rains on me. So there's good things and bad things.
Lady Monkey is awake and we've been going for 2 hours. I just want to point out, guys, me and Hammer, disagreement. And since then, just been talking like normal people. It is possible. Try it. It's healthy. Try it. It's okay to have disagreements. I that is my new thing. I'm gonna be pushing. It's okay to have disagreements. I'm so tired of team everything. Everything's got to be a team. And you know what? That doesn't mean you can't have strong opinions. Have your strong opinions. Just remember, not everybody's an enemy. Not everybody's the worst person you ever fucking met.
Yeah. If there's anything you want to take away from this, that's exactly the right thing to take away.
There's only one person you've ever met that's the worst person you've ever met. I promise you that. It's literally how words work. Keldrick, thank you so much. You live in Michigan. Nobody there drives straight. They all drive gay. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. You guys suck at arguing. That's not true. We're so good at arguing. We got it done quickly and moved on.
Yeah.
We rock at arguing. We cut it to the chase, man.
I think the better you know the other person, the more you can communicate effectively with them.
Yeah, especially it's so easy with people you don't know to have misunderstandings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where you and I have discussed things long enough. You said, that first time where I asked you, are you questioning my patriotism and you felt bad about it? I hope since then you've never actually had that thought, and then you're like, oh no, this is just how monkey talks, and this is how we have the argument, and then we move on with life.
Yeah.
So, but that if that was the only interaction you ever had with me, and that's how you walked away from it feeling, you would have been absolutely wrong.
No,
And
I
you
was
wouldn't,
watching you on Lords of the Night the very next night.
yeah, and you
Didn't
never
even
would have
think twice
known
about
that
it.
if you hadn't have taken the chance and kept coming back. So,
Sure.
especially with this Crowder thing, fucking conservatives, stop eating your own, especially when you're laughing at the other side for doing it.
Yeah. Aren't we supposed to be on the same team here?
It's okay to even have your favorites. It's okay to hate both of these guys, one of them, the other. I don't care. But it shouldn't be over this, because that's just fucking ridiculous.
It's petty bullshit.
Yeah. I think Crowder was running the game, and I think they were trying to do legit business. And in the end, nobody wins.
Exactly. Nobody wins. You're right.
Instead, all you've done is pointed out how bad the other one was. For look, I honestly do. I think Crowder's a hypocrite. He's not the only hypocrite that's ever existed. Hypocrisy, most people are hypocrites. You might not think you are, but I promise you, if we talk long enough, I could find your hypocrisy. Because we all have them, and until you get challenged on it, most of the time we don't even think about it. But that doesn't mean you got to hate the guy over it. If you want to lose respect for him, that's fair and valid. Same with Daily Wire. If you really think that they were just trying to do Susan's bidding, well, you're just wrong on that. So stop it. Guys, we're wrapping up here. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Thank you so much for the donations. Hammer, it is always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Absolutely, sir. I enjoyed myself.
It's something we do not do enough, and we really should. So your side, my side, we got to do it more. But on that, I am taking off. No second game stream, guys. Don't get too conceited here tonight, or greedy. That's the word, not conceited. I'm conceited. Everybody, thanks for coming by. Hammer, pleasure as always, my friend.
You too, sir.
Guys, have a wonderful night. We'll see y'all next time.
Night, everybody.
If you think the contract was bad, you're kind of right, but it wasn't evil.